How to make money selling real estate contracts. Want to learn how to make money selling real estate contracts? Today, I'm going to walk you through the process and I'll show you another opportunity in real estate that you've probably never heard of and it's going to knock your socks off. In this video, I'm going to give you the lowdown on selling and flipping real estate contracts. Be sure to stay on till the end because I'm going to give you access to a free resource so that you can learn more not only about flipping real estate contracts, but also about this other little niche business that's related, but very, very few people know about. Selling real estate contracts is also called wholesaling. And what you're doing is you're getting a property under contract and then you're letting someone else take over your contract. The legal term for that is called assigning the contract. So you're assigning the contract, someone else closes on your behalf. So you might wonder, why would someone do that? Well, they do it because you've got a great and amazing deal under contract and they want to get in on that deal. You know, there are a lot of house flippers out there and investors in real estate who don't have the time to find great deals, or they simply can't find every great deal out there because, let's face it, who could? So when you're selling real estate contracts, your expertise is in getting great deals under contract. So you're going to be dealing in that business with typically real estate professionals. This is not something you do with someone who wants to buy a house to live in. This is something you do with a rehabber, a house flipper, maybe someone who's into rental properties. So it's a professional type investor. And that's good because when you get professional investors who have lots of money and want lots of deals, they'll snap up every deal that you can get them. That's why selling real estate contracts can be a good business. But here are the challenges. You really need to get a great deal under contract. For example, the numbers for a house flipper or rehabber, they need to buy that house for 70 to 75% of its retail value minus the fix-up cost. So I'm going to use a really simple number here just because it's easier. If you were looking at a $100,000 house, that rehabber or flipper wants to pay no more than $75,000 for the house minus the fix-up costs. And typically houses that rehabbers are taking on, have very high fix-up costs. So let's say you had a $100,000 house that needed $50,000 in fix-up, just because the number is easy to work. So the rehabber wants to pay 75% of $50,000, which is about $35,000. And as you can imagine, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get a property like that under contract because that's not a lot of money. Someone's going to know that houses in their neighborhood go for $100,000. They're going to be like, you can offer me $35,000 for it? That is actually your math. And the way that you make your profit is you have to build in a margin that allows for profit. So let's say that the rehabber is willing to pay $35,000 for the house. You need to get it for 30 or 25 in order to build your margin. So that's where it works. And of course, we scale this up because houses these days are more like $400,000 for an average house. So you scale it, but it's the same thing. You're essentially offering 3/4 of the value minus the fix-up cost minus a margin for you. So it can be a great business, but if you're going to be a great business person in selling real estate contracts, you have to be great at getting great properties under contract. So the question is, how do you do that? Well, you're going to look for properties and owners where there are signs of distress. What are those things? You might have a house that had a fire in it. You have a landlord that is tired of evicting tenants and the place is just vacant. You have vacant properties. You have properties that are behind in their mortgage, properties that are behind in their taxes, properties owned by people in divorce, properties owned by estates where the heirs are out of state and want to own it. So you have these signs of distress, and you can get those lists. For example, First American Data sells lists like that. There are a bunch of list providers that you can find on the internet. You want to look for signs of distress. It's someone that has a property they just do not want. They're called don't wanters, and they don't want the property. So it's not so much about getting the maximum price. It's about getting an unwanted property off of their hands. The successful people at selling real estate contracts are typically doing large marketing programs involving direct mail, involving internet advertising, putting up websites and marketing in your local area to find great deals. So it's typically a pretty big upfront investment to do direct mail and to do internet advertising. And what you need to do is get a big volume of leads coming in, and then you have to quickly weed through them to see who's interested and who's not. So you'll ask qualifying questions like, for example, well, are you willing to sell the house for the amount that you owe on it? And if you have someone that's just a tire kicker that's just saying, no, it's just, I was thinking about putting it with a realtor, but I want to see what you can offer, that's not your seller. You want someone who just says, I want to get rid of this property, and just come over and take a look at it and make an offer. So that's the person that you want. And it just takes a lot of leads to do that, and it takes a lot of capital to do that. So the thing I don't like about that business is the amount of time and effort that goes into acquiring properties, meaning putting them under contract. Now, the second part of it is that you need to have a strong group of buyers that you're working with. That's relatively easier to do. So the ways that you'll do that are, number one, you're going to go to your local RIA club. RIA stands for Real Estate Investor Association. Most major cities have one. Go there and start talking to people. Find out who are the men and women that are actively investing in real estate. There are people that are landlords that are buying properties and apartment buildings. There are people that are flippers that are always looking for their next deal. And it takes time and effort to find deals, so they're happy to work with wholesalers as long as you bring them good deals. So go to the RIA Club. Also look online for people that are advertising, looking for properties that they can buy. You'll see sometimes billboards that say, we buy your house for cash, or cash offer in your house in 24 hours. Look online, do those searches. Do a search on Google that says, I want to sell my house for cash, or how can I sell my house today? And you're going to come up with websites of people that are investors who are into flipping houses, into investing, and you want to call them up and talk to them. Now, some of those people are going to be wholesalers, but some of those people will be actual investors. And you want to talk to them and find out what kind of properties are they looking for. What areas are they looking for? Are they looking for apartment buildings? Are they looking for single family houses? Are they looking for triplexes? You want to find out what their criteria are. And then you want to ask if they'd be interested in hearing about deals as you find them. If they say yes, then just take your notes and put them in your database. Now, you want to make sure that you have at least half a dozen solid buyers behind you before you go out looking for properties, because you don't want to be in the position they get a property under contract and then you have no one to sell it to. Instead, build your team of qualified, active buyers as part of your initial groundwork for this business. So when you have a strong group of buyers, then you can go in and make offers with great confidence, because all you're doing when you're selling real estate contracts, you're getting the property under contract and you're just assigning it or giving it to the person who's actually going to be the investor. Now, there are a couple different ways to do that. You can do an assignment of contract. Sometimes people will just put it under contract in the name of a trust, which is an entity you don't need to register with the state, and then they just give the trust to the next person, they close. So different ways to do that. That's more detail than we're going to get into right now. But I think that there's another better business out there right now, because the problem with selling real estate contracts, it is a competitive market for properties right now. And you have to spend a lot of money on upfront advertising. You've got to put up a website. It's relatively complicated. So I think for most people, it's not the best choice, but I found a much better choice. And that choice is called overages. Overages is a business where when a property is sold at a tax or mortgage foreclosure auction, when the property sells for more than the amount that's owed, that extra money is left over for the former homeowner to claim. The problem is these former owners have no idea there's any money that they could claim. They think, they sold my house, whether it's the mortgage company or the taxing authority, they sold my house, so I guess they keep the money. That's not exactly correct. I can tell you as an attorney, what is correct is that when they sell a house at a foreclosure auction, they, whether it's the mortgage company or the taxing authority, get to keep the amount that they're owed. That's legal, that's lawful, and that's proper. But any money over and above the debt needs to be available for the former owner to apply for. Now, the former owners do need to apply for it. It's a pretty simple process, not terribly difficult, but they do have to apply for it. When they don't apply for it, it just sits in government accounts until someone either claims it or too much time goes by and the money just forfeits into the government account. Now, you'll see a list on your screen. That's a sample, a real list of monies that are just sitting there after an auction waiting to be claimed. And looking at those, you can see there are a lot of old ones that are more than a year old, some several years old. There are ones that are a lot of money. And I just have to ask you, if you were owed all that money, the thousands and tens of thousands of dollars you see, would you wait a year or two to claim your money? Or maybe never claim it? The answer is no, of course you wouldn't. What that shows you is people just are not aware of this. The former owners have no idea there's any money, so they don't claim it. Instead, they sort of slump off trying to find their next thing, trying to find some inexpensive housing, and trying to get started again. In this business, you're going to be getting these lists. I'll show you how to then get the contact information for the people. Very easy to do over the internet these days. Reach out to them, either send them a letter, send them a note on Facebook, or give them a call. Tell them the good news and ask if they'd be interested in working with you for a percentage. I mean, you get paid a percentage if and when you're successful, but absolutely no risk to them. They don't have to put any money up front. All they have to do is give you written permission to go and pursue this money, and you'll be off like a starving dog after a rabbit. It's a really great business. You're going to get a lot of money. You're going to help a lot of people get restarted with their lives, and you can have a great business that is very low risk. You're not putting out a lot of money for these things. You're just filling in some forms and mailing them in. You don't have to do a marketing program. Your marketing program is picking up the phone and giving someone a call and say, hey, Mr. Jones, this is Bob Diamond. My company's identified a large refund that you qualify to apply for. Would you be interested in working with us to get that money? You don't have to put up Google ads. You don't have to put up a fancy website. I can give you the website. I have packaged websites we give to people in this business. Very, very easy and low cost. And you also don't have to balance two sets of things. When you're selling real estate contracts, you have to get a good, strong group of buyers that actually move when you have a deal, and you've got to find sellers who've got to sell extraordinarily cheap. I think that's a lot to do. I think the overages business is far better. The other thing with overages is you make way more money. And you can see in this list how much money is out there, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when you're working for a percentage, you can just imagine the kind of money that you could be making. For us, our margin goal is 30 to 40%. So meaning we typically charge 30 to 40% of the money we help recover. Free country, you can charge what you want, but take a look at the amount of money on that list, and you get an idea of the kind of money that's out there. You can make an amazing low-cost business to start, low-risk business, and relatively simple business. You're dealing with one person, a former owner at a big pile of money, not a former owner and buyers and hoping you bring them together. That's way more complicated. This business doesn't take any special licenses to start, doesn't take a lot of capital. It really just takes someone who's really determined to be successful and who truly wants to help people, because we're helping these folks that have lost everything. So if you like the idea of helping people and making great money in a simple business, this is the business for you. If you're interested in this, so your next step is watch the Intro to Overages business video that I recorded. There's a link to it that you can see. Just click on that link, and there's a short video where I go into more detail in the overages business, and I offer you more free advanced training so you can really get into this business. This is an amazing business. It's a low-cost business to start, a low-cost business to run with great profits, and you're helping people while you're making great money. Again, what could be better than that? So this is Attorney Bob Diamond. I'm really excited to share the overages business with you. Click on the link, and I'll see you over at the Intro to the Overages business.